talking about kid safeties. For 10 years, that school wasn't inspected.
And if I could, Clay, to answer your question about when the fire marshal was in the building prior to coming to the school with Ellen and other patrons, was the fall of 2006, when he came in and asked that a couple of doors be fixed, among other things. And so that was prior to him coming and giving this full 32-point report, was fall of 2006.
Correct. That's the high school. How about the elementary?
I'm not aware of the last time.
Neither is the fire marshal. He didn't know. When I called him, what I called him about was a comment made in the school board minutes that Mabel Dabrowski made a complaint, and the fire marshal came in and did an inspection. I called the fire marshal to get the complaint. It didn't exist. There was no document. I asked.
The next question.
Hey, run your own.
Well, just to conclude that, Regina Shields is the legal counsel for the State Fire Marshal's office. She asked the Albion office to search the records. They searched their records at the state office. They found no inspection of the elementary school where the littlest children are, the most vulnerable ones, for at least 10 years, according to the legal counsel, the State Fire Marshal's office. So somebody in charge of this school has, if we're really concerned about the safety of the children, in Iowa, in Minnesota, you couldn't get away with that. They come in every 18 months, every 2 years. But if you have if you question the previous fire inspection, then take it up with the legal counsel of the State Fire Marshal's office. Any other first-time questioners?
Right here. I think Paul is.
Paul Markowski. I was on the school board. I think you're forgetting the whole picture of how the fire marshal thing came about. We did an analysis of all our buildings. We had a contractor come in, inspect everything, make a list out of what the problems were, so we knew what we were doing, what we could budget for. Is that right, Ellen?
Did you have a...
Now, wait a minute. Now we had the whole list made out. It is my understanding, because I was sitting right there when you said half this stuff is a bunch of bull. It's not needed. So you requested at that time for a fire marshal to come in and do a complete inspection, which he found every one of the items we had as legitimate concerns. Is that right?
Paul?
Yes.
Excuse me, because I had bronchitis.
Okay.
I don't recall if you had a list or that part. Yes, I did request from our school board to have the fire marshal come inspect. Yes, I did.
Because we had a list made up of estimate prices, and you guys believed that it was not necessary.
I questioned some of the things, and here's an example of one. I questioned some things. I don't remember the details of all that. Just a minute. This is an example of what I questioned. One of the things I recall on one of the tours of the school that I was on, we were being told that the stairwells had to be enclosed. Marty, I was on a tour with you, and you said that. And I thought, well, you know, I've been in other schools, I've been in other buildings, they've been modernized.
If it was not spring.
Yes, but you guys didn't present it that way at that time. You did not. See, that's my problem too. You don't remember everything exactly, word for word. And I'm sorry, Paul, I don't either from that meeting. I remember being there. I take responsibility for asking you to inspect the buildings. But, just a minute, let me finish, please. Okay. But, so I was questioning that in my own mind. And so I thought, I'm going to ask. So I asked the fire marshal. And they said, no, that's inaccurate. So that triggered me to say to think how much more is not quite accurate.
And that is fine, but with Mr. Doerr's comment that we weren't taking children seriously in the elementary school and our school, I take that as an insult because we have these deficiencies
Paul,
found. Yes.
I take it as an insult when when our Kids First are calling patrons in Ord and say that this is all Ellen Novak's fault. And I had an elderly woman, don't shake your head because I have it recorded when the lady called me at home. And she called me and she said, they're calling me, and I can tell you the teacher's name. I'm not going to reveal that. And she told her this is Ellen Novak's fault. I don't have a problem with asking you to have the fire marshal come and inspect the building. I will. That is my fault. Okay? Crucify me.
It's your right, Ellen.
I felt I was doing what my heart felt was the right thing to do.
I guess I've been told I insulted him, so I need to defend my statement. I wasn't speaking about the junior and senior high school fire marshal's reports. I was not speaking about the 2006 one. I was not speaking about the 2008 one. I was speaking about the elementary school one.
We also had that.
And that's the one that the chief legal counsel for the state fire marshal's office told me prior to this recent one hasn't been inspected for at least 10 years. For the littlest of children, the most vulnerable of all. So you can be insulted, but take it up with them. They're the ones who don't have the report. Who's watching out for the kids?
I do remember in the cafeteria when we were having meetings and we were talking about what we were going to do with the school. Are we going to tear this building down or are we not going to tear it down? At that time, Jim Berg decided. He came back with that, and I gave some suggestions to him about things we could do in order to take care of that building. One of them was build a structure up through the girls' gym and make more space like that. Lo and behold, this is what we're looking at doing. Along with that, though, at that time, Jim Berg said, it's cheaper to tear this building down and build new than it is to go ahead and refurbish this building. One of the reasons he said that was because the fire marshal, what he substantiated that with was the fire marshal says we have to close all the corridors going up the stairways and it's too expensive to do all of that. Ellen looked at that. I remember that distinctly, him saying that. Ellen looked at that and said, that doesn't seem right. He's saying this needs to be done. I don't think it needs to be done. Maybe we better check on the fire marshal and see if what Jim Berg is saying is actually true. And lo and behold, the fire marshal comes in, does his inspection, and says nothing about open stairwells having to be closed up.
That lady's been very patient. And she
Yes.
hasn't been able to ask a question.
My name is Wendy Alexander, and I teach chemistry and science at the high school. I commend you all for agreeing that there are some certain safety codes and issues to look at. As far as the heating goes, I would encourage all of you to come and tour the school and walk into my science room because it is a sauna. If you don't think there are leaks in those steam pipes and in those radiators, no need to go spend money on a sauna. Just come to chemistry class. The other thing that I guess a true question I have is if we put in a sprinkler system that needs to be done and address the heating and not air conditioning, but just the heating issues that need to be done.